A good example I'll provide is we worked with a commercial rail freight company who had all the data coming out of their locomotives to say, you know, the temperature, the pressure loads, the fuel consumption, you know, the acceleration, etc. But they didn't know what to do with it, and what they wanted to do was become more efficient on the track. So instead of kind of saying, well, the computer says you can get better to the drivers, which the drivers turn around and say, well, the computer's never driven a train, we actually got the drivers to compete with each other. So we actually took those data sets and said, you know, Henry's absolutely nailed this run, and here is kind of his image as he made that run. So this is how he accelerated, this is how he braked, and this was sort of the impact in terms of the reduction on fuel. The important piece we found there was that people want to see the data as being meaningful and being real rather than data for data's sake. And so we found a huge amount more traction with actually having real people's use of that data analysed against others rather than just the computer says things can be improved and we can move a margin point. So that was a really valuable insight, and that's something that, you know, WSP particularly bring to that, is we can elicit the data, we can put sensors up everything and around everything, and we've got narrowband IoT coming through, so you can actually get that data further and deeper into buildings and under the ground, etc. But without the correct analysis of that data in a meaningful way to the customers, it's just a pool of data sitting. And look, I'd agree from a Telstra perspective, you know, we're happy to share the data as long as it's appropriately anonymised, so we're not actually exposing individuals' information, but it is a very sensitive area because obviously we need to be very clear around what the outcome that's been trying to be achieved from sharing that data information. So we do work with a number of groups around exposing appropriate data, and it's kind of in that challenge. You know, you've got the three sections of data: the private stuff that we absolutely don't want to share, the stuff we'll share with trusted partners like WSP, and then the stuff we're happy to just make completely public, because, you know, you have to appropriately expose as much data to everybody as you can, because the creativity is much broader than just in this room. I think an interesting observation, so certainly kind of an analogy to what you're talking about, and my preferred evolution of water is beer, and one of the beer companies that we're working with wanted to push further into that endpoint delivery to get more value in for their customers. So we're working with them on putting sensors in to test the temperature, the flow rate, the pH, etc. at the point of delivery to the pint glass, so they can guarantee the perfect pint to the people they're supplying the beer to. But the actual venue can then use that to market to their customers to say, we are serving beer at the perfect mix of you know, temperature, flow rate, etc. So they're able to sell value-added services in to the venues to say, we'll manage all of the infrastructure, and in doing that we'll put all these sensors in place to guarantee perfect tasting beer to your customers. I think I'd add to that and say that one of the challenges is that the business is typically now moving faster than in-house IT can keep up. And so often, you know, the security concerns, considerations, etc. aren't something that the internal IT organisations associated to these big projects can actually kind of curtail. So I think it presents a fantastic opportunity for WSP and Telstra as two very trusted organisations. I mean, you know, if I'm going to go to somebody and ask for some advice around how to embed security into the handling of my data, then an engineering firm is going to be right at the top of my list of those people I'm going to trust, and we're in a fairly trusted position as well as Telstra. And I think the opportunity is to replace that internal IT function that is just not able to change at the pace that the business is changing at, and really step into that consultation and guidance role for our customers. And I think they're absolutely crying out for it. So it's just a natural progression, and we see we have to do it on the projects that we're running today, and take a hold of that and give a clear direction and make sure that customers feel comfortable about the security measures in place.